Making sure. Hello. Not sure if anybody's going to be on. It's just starting to get sunny here. So if you live around Nanaimo, you probably might be outside. Oh, my dog. This is Bailey. He wants to come and say hello. He usually doesn't stay if I am doing a video. He just wants attention. We'll see what happens. But, oh, okay, I see I have two people on. Trying to fix this tripod. Yeah, a lady commented once about my picture behind me and said I should take it down. It's very distracting. But I'm not taking it down right now. Kind of forgot. No big deal, no big deal. I'll be just going to refresh the page because it's just weird. I have a hard time seeing comments on my phone. My phone's also turned the other way, so I'm not sure if I'll get comments that way. So if you're watching replay, if you're watching live, comment hello, say hello so I can see. I'll watch it on my computer who's watching live. And then, yeah, I'll be able to, also you can ask at any time. Oh, geez, he's going to move. Post your questions in the comments below, and then I'll look down every once in a while. Oh, who we got? Hey, Diana. Kathy. Hi, Kathy. How you doing? And I will answer any questions you have in the comments below. Hey, Cindy. So, yeah, feel free to post questions and comments and stuff below. I know a lot of people are watching the replay. Saturday afternoon, right? Oh, my God. Go down there. Just unless 100% attention's on him, forget it. Forget it. All right. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching live. Thank you for watching the replay. All right. So what we are doing today, what I'm talking about today is the weight gain during, I say menopause, it's actually perimenopause is when those changes occur. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the difference between that and your hormones, and I will get into the weight. And then I'm also going to talk about my story, how I don't often do that because I always think no one wants to hear all my stuff. But I realize that I get a ton of questions about what I did during this time and how I lost the weight and what I went. So that's what I'm going to talk about today too. All right, so let's get started. So now, perimenopause is the time before menopause. So perimenopause is basically hormone fluctuation. It is another time in your life, like adolescence, when your hormones start to fluctuate. Now, usually we start, it's when your ovaries start producing less hormones. They can produce progesterone and estrogen, and progesterone is often the first, well, pretty much always, the first hormone to start to decrease. Now, we are also seeing women in their 20s and 30s maybe going through this. And what's happening there is that, so you have estrogen, progesterone like this. What's happening now is because of the plastics, the food additives, all the junk and toxins in our environment, people are getting high, and birth control pills, they're getting higher in estrogen at a very young age because there's these fake estrogens that mimic estrogen in your body and all this stuff. So what happens is your progesterone is lower. Not that it's lowered, but estrogen has gone higher, and therefore your progesterone is now lower than estrogen, so that causes those changes in your body, and you can be, that's when they say, oh my God, you're in perimenopause or menopause, because that's what used to happen is, right? Our progesterone would start to decrease. Right now it's happening because estrogen seems to be increasing because of all the hormones in our meats and dairy and all the other things that I mentioned. So that is what's going on at a younger age. So women can start to be said to be in perimenopause at a very, very young age. It's actually, they're more, we would just call it estrogen dominant because of environmental and food factors, not because they're aging, okay? Now, so perimenopause is when you start to notice all the changes in your body. So when progesterone lowers, you start to get symptoms. Now, progesterone is when the hormone so that you can get pregnant. So also, does that make sense why we're seeing so much infertility now? So if their estrogen is higher, they're considered progesterone is lower, then it's harder to get pregnant. So that's a really crazy thing that's going on right now too. But there are ways for that, and for younger women, that they can switch that around because it's not supposed to be occurring in their body, right? But there is hope for them. There is. I can't talk about that right now. But anyways, Foods also, so your hormones require nutrients. What are the good nutrients for your hormones? Are minerals. So and vitamins and stuff too, but we need a ton of minerals because that's the food for our hormones so that they help to produce themselves, right? If we are malnourished, we will see decrease in our hormones also a lot. Another thing that causes our hormones to be all out of whack is stress. We'll be talking about that too. So the hormones, when you hit the age of 35, we're talking about the weight now, when you hit the age of 35, your body starts to lose muscle mass if you are not strength training. So you lose about 0.5 pound of muscle mass a year starting from the age of 35, and then you usually put on about 1.5 pounds of fat if you are not in the gym. So I worked out a lot in my 20s and 30s. That means I did tons and tons of weight training. I was very, very muscular. So I actually gained lots of muscle mass, and that your muscle mass is your furnace. It's what helps you to burn calories. It helps your metabolism, so your metabolism's faster. It keeps your hormones good and strong. So that's a big important thing. So for those who don't go in the gym, who don't strength train, you can also do a lot of like weight bearing exercises, you really should get back into the gym because muscle is also what shapes you, gives you a shape instead of just, the older we get, the more fat we gain, the less muscle we have because we start to lose more and more and more and more muscle, and then our shape just goes kind of blobby, and that's exactly what happens. So because we lose muscle mass, and if you're not building muscle mass, then you keep putting on the weight and keep putting on weight, right? So that's the first part of the weight gain problem in middle life. And like I said, because our hormones. So when the ovaries start producing less estrogen, they also produce progesterone. So when they start producing less of those hormones, what happens is another gland that produces those hormones are your adrenal glands. So your adrenal glands can produce the estrogen and progesterone. But what's happening now in almost all cases is that women are very stressed out, we're overstimulated by social media and overstimulated period, and trying to do way too many things, don't rest, all that, is that their adrenal glands are getting burned out. And so therefore their adrenal glands cannot really be relied on to produce those hormones. So if your ovaries are producing less and your adrenal glands aren't even really producing them, what can produce is your fat. And fat around the midsection. So your body needs fat. It puts on fat. Who else just joined? I see someone joined. I'm just going to put on my glasses to read. Have gained 10 pounds in my 50s, but am slowly losing by following your tips. Oh, that's so nice to know. Thank you, Tammy, for saying that. So by our ovaries and stuff producing less, and our adrenal glands, if they're tired and exhausted, they can't really produce the hormones. So the fat is what takes it all on. The more fat you have, the better chance you're going to continue to produce those hormones, right? The estrogen especially. So then your body is just trying to balance things out for you. It's trying to do what's best. But we don't like it, right? We don't think it's best at all. Oh my God, I just got some. Oh yeah, menopause. So perimenopause is when these changes are taking place. So you could notice things like foggy, hard to concentrate, your memory. You might be going, I can't remember anything. I walk into a room, I don't remember what I walked in there for. In the middle of a conversation, you can completely forget what you were talking about. That happened to me. And so it's kind of a time when you think, I'm going crazy. Oh my God, what's happening? And also over emotional. So just like adolescence, the fluctuating hormones puts us into this period where we feel really emotional, and it's like extreme, extreme this way, extreme the other way, anxiety, depression we can start to feel. And then digestive problems can get way worse, tired, exhausted, which is always from our adrenal glands being too exhausted because they're trying to do so much duty all of a sudden. And then, the weight gain around the midsection because our body's trying to produce estrogen in the fat. And what's the other one that I was talking about? There's my memory right. No, much better. I'm trying to remember so many things here. There's just another, the periods, when your cycle gets crazy in perimenopause. What happens is it gets severely bad. So it's like nothing you've ever had before, bad cramps even, and that gets, and then you'll have months where it's really super light, or you may not have it at all. So these extremes and cycles. And the unfortunate thing that happens at this time is that doctors don't understand that. So what they think is, oh my God, she has something serious happen. We need to give her a hysterectomy because this is just going to get worse. They don't realize that this is a fluctuating thing, and eventually you don't have it anymore. You don't worry about it. It doesn't bother you anymore. It's just, it disappears on its own. But it has, it's just like anything. When it's going through these wild changes, it has period, goes up and goes down, just like your emotions. And oftentimes women in midlife get put on antidepressants too, because doctors and themselves don't understand that. Can you guys hear me? Just make sure you can hear me. If there's any problems, just let me know. I can put on my earphones. And they don't understand that this is normal, right? That these over emotional periods will end. They won't be so bad. It's going to get better. So it's crazy. If new people are jumping on, say hello so I know who's on. Say hello in the comments below. And of course, feel free to ask any questions. I'll be checking those comments. So this is a really crazy time. There's not enough understanding and knowledge. Now, I know women, we always tend to go to our doctors, which is great because you don't know where else to go. And it's always a good idea. Hi, Linda. It's always a great idea to go to your doctor and get checked out. And that's what I'll be talking about when I talk about my story, what I went through and all the things I did at this phase of my life too. Hello, Karen, and hello, Linda, hello. Great, you guys. Sorry you missed part of the beginning, but you can watch it. Go back and watch the beginning that you missed, because I really explained a lot about certain things I don't want you to miss. Now, so perimenopause is this extreme change, right? And it does end. You don't really need to go on antidepressants. You don't really need to have a hysterectomy unless they actually test you and there's something that they believe is really wrong and will never get better. And yeah, so the doctors don't learn about nutrition. This is a fact, and this is true. They do not learn nutrition in their school, and they do not really learn about hormone fluctuations unless they choose to study it. So they learn, regular practitioners learn, like a regular doctor, MD, learns a whole bunch of stuff. And so, but a little bits of everything. So then they need to specialize. And so if they specialize in hormones, they become an endocrinologist, right? If they specialize, they could also become OBGY, whatever that, friggin' I forgot that word. OBGYN, whatever they call it. So they specialize where they do further training and they learn. So a regular doctor you go to see will not understand the hormones, will not understand the emotional up and downs, will not understand the nutrition part of it. So don't even ask them. That's just, they can't learn everything. It's just, and this is a specialty. This is special. What I think is that you need to go get checked out if you're having certain symptoms by your doctor and do the regular medical test to make sure there is nothing wrong with you, right? That they can find. So when they give you, yes, there's nothing wrong with you, there's a clean bill of health, don't go on the synthetic hormones. Do not. They are just drugs and they will screw everything up. And don't take the antidepressants as they suggest at this time of your life either, because you probably don't need them. What's another thing? Yeah, kind of those things, right? And it's just kind of beware what they say, because they're just going what the drug companies tell them at the conferences. That's all they know. So once you get a clean bill of health and say, okay, they all say to you, everything's okay. I don't know, but you seem fine. Walk away. And then go see a naturopath or go see some sort of a doctor, a functional doctor that knows more about natural stuff. All right, so perimenopause is that time when there's those wild fluctuations. Menopause is when you haven't had your period for 1 full year. You are then in menopause, right? And at that time, then any time after that is post-menopausal. Once you haven't had your period for a while, it's post-menopausal. You are finished. But that doesn't mean the symptoms go away. Some symptoms stay, but your hormones start to balance out a bit more. If you are taking care of yourself, if you're taking care of your adrenal glands and your stress, if you're taking care of your diet, then you will feel a lot better. But if you've compromised your health, if you haven't taken care of yourself, if you refuse to change what you eat, If you refuse to decrease the stress in your life and the craziness in your life, it could continue to get worse because your body has nothing to run on. It needs the proper nutrition to continually to support the hormones. You need to decrease the stress so your adrenal glands can get back to working properly so they can produce the estrogen when your ovaries cannot. Adrenal glands can produce it, progesterone and estrogen, when your ovaries have stopped producing it, right? That's what our body's meant to do. But like I was talking about earlier, because in this day and age we're too busy, we're too stressed, we're too crazy, your adrenal glands pick up the slack and they are already exhausted, so they themselves cannot produce hormones properly. So then your fat does, and the fat around the midsection continues to grow and grow and grow because that's the only thing in your body that's functioning properly at this time to produce hormones, to try and balance things out for you. That is the main reasons why you gain fat. Now we're going to talk about and why it's so hard to lose. If you are not managing your stress and your adrenal glands, which we're going to go into greater detail, how are you going to lose weight? You won't, because your fat needs to be there to produce hormones for you. So you will not lose the weight. And so also what you eat. If you don't have the proper nutrition to support your hormones and your glands in your body, they won't work. And so they can't produce, so then the fat's going to have to produce the estrogen. That's just the way it is. And when I work with a lot of women, what I hear, a lot of women come to me is that they are in that stage of life where they are so busy and so stressed. But the main thing you need to let it go. You need to change your life. If you are in that phase of life where you're just too busy or too stressed, you're going, wah, and you're like, I can't let it go. I can't. This is what I got to do. I got to have this. I got to have that. I got to do this. I got to do that. Then that's just all there is. So that's why I'm going to tell my story, because I'm really going to tell how important this is and how you cannot let it go and how you have to really choose to take care of yourself at this phase of your life. Okay, I'm going to see if I missed anything about the weight gain. Ask me any questions, you guys, if you have any questions about this phase, this weight gain phase and stuff. Okay, let me just see what I've got here. I think I covered basically anything. I just want to make so we're going to talk about the stress now, and how crucial it is. So stress, you can be under a state of constant stress but not even realize it. And I think when I went through my adrenal collapse and fatigue, I didn't really think I was in a lot of stress. We're so surrounded by people in our lives now, it just seems normal. And before perimenopause, you can handle the stress. Your body can handle it because it was more balanced, it was more functioning. It didn't have all these extreme changes it was going through. Do you have to see a natural doctor to fix adrenals, or can food heal it? Good one, Cindy. Do you have to? Food is not alone going to heal it. You need to, that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about that because I'm going right into that exact topic right now. Thank you for that. So the effects of stress. So you could realize you could be under a state of consistent stress. It's something you're so used to. And yes, you could handle it before perimenopause, but during perimenopause, what happens is, like we said, your adrenal glands are put into overuse, overdrive, right? And so they're all of a sudden, it's like, just imagine you work at a full-time job, 2 other people quit, you are taking on 3 jobs at the same time. That is what your adrenal glands, of course you're going to get exhausted, right? So that's why your adrenal glands get exhausted. And so, like we said, even if you didn't feel like that much stress before, there's a lot of stress now on your adrenal glands. And so that's why what the life you used to live before, you can't do anymore, you guys. That's just the reality. Okay, so what happens is that the effects of stress are, I'm just reading some things so I don't miss anything. It blunts your hormone production. It leads to adrenal fatigue, which adrenals can produce hormones. So if your adrenals are fatigued, they can't. More fat. That means more fat. It makes it hard to lose weight or impossible to lose weight. And you continue to gain weight because of high cortisol levels. Put you in insulin resistance. Oh my God. Right? So you convert everything to sugar all of a sudden, right? Everything goes to fat. I mean, it's just like your body cannot metabolize food properly, especially starches, okay? Decrease in your immune system. So then your immune system is weakened, therefore leading you to be able to catch different things and autoimmune. Oh my God, that's huge. Get more sick. Lack of sex drive. So you can bottom out with sex drive completely. Like we said, your periods and digestive problems become wild and crazy. Your emotions all over the place. You might experience anxiety and depression. Increases inflammation within your body. So stress increases inflammation within your body. Inflammation within your body causes aches, pains, all this. Also is a precursor, so it's oxidative stress, to disease and illness. Inflammation within your body, which is called systemic inflammation. So we're not just talking about inflamed joints, we're talking about inflammation within your body that you can't see, causes illness and disease to come in. You can notice hair loss, more wrinkles, so you look like you're aging faster, dark circles, puffiness under the eyes, and it will also could lead to thyroid problems. So your adrenal glands and your thyroids are closely linked. So if your adrenal glands are exhausted, they can't do the proper work, they can't support your thyroid, then your thyroid starts to not work properly, and then there's a whole other bit of problems going on. More weight gain, exhaustion, feeling so tired, feeling really cold, bottoming out, being like blank, you can't think, you can't focus, all of that, right? So adrenal exhaustion, adrenal fatigue is when the stress, the cortisol levels have been high for too long. And there's different stages. You'll notice that you will be really hyper, feeling really great, I can take on the world. That's when cortisol levels are going, and adrenaline is coming out, and you feel like you can conquer the world. And then slowly you start to get really, really, really tired. And when you hit adrenal exhaustion, you actually feel no emotion. You will blank out, so you become apathetic. That means you have hit the wall. You are so exhausted, it's really hard to wake up in the morning. You can barely make it through the day. Coffee doesn't even keep you awake. You're fuzzy and inability to focus. You have digestive problems. You urinate often, probably. You crave salt and sweets. What else? You have trouble sleeping, or definitely impaired sleeping throughout the night. So that's adrenal fatigue. It can get brutal. And that will even lower your immune system even more and cause even more inflammation within your body. So what do you need to do for that? That is, you don't necessarily have to go to a natural doctor, but you need supplements. Will food alone do it? Usually not, but some people say yes. But here's the thing. What I chose to do was go see a naturopath. I got tested. It's a urine test. Very, very simple urine test. You get tested, they can tell where you are. And then I did homeopathic stuff, and I did supplements, high quality supplements from a naturopath that you cannot find at a health food store. That means higher doses. Because I wanted to bring myself back faster, Cindy. If you rely just on food and doing it yourself, it's going to be a long time. So I chose to say, I'm going to build myself up as much as I can, as fast as I possibly can, so that I can feel better faster. In 3 months, I felt better. Really, 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 really good after 3 months of taking stuff. But it also requires you to decrease stress in your life. If you don't, you will not get rid of it. So I changed, and that's what I'm going to go into my story here soon. I changed a lot of things in my life. And yeah, I'm going to talk about that with my story. But some of the other things you can do are deep breathing. So I took up yoga, I took up meditation. I did a lot more yoga. So deep breathing, like the inhale for 4 breaths and then exhale through your mouth for about 7 or 8 breaths, and continue that breath for a while. Focus on your heart, connecting to your body. Grounding, you can do that by walking barefoot outside in the summertime. You can do that by imagining you're sitting and meditating, imagining like a white light coming through your skull, down, down, down through the center of your body, and down through your root chakra, down through your pelvis, and right down into the ground, and developing roots. That's called grounding. So it's like focusing on the body and the energy coming right down and into the ground and grounding yourself. Light exercise. You do not work out a lot. So one of the really important things is don't over-exercise. If you exercise a lot, you will burn yourself out even more. So you're going to take light walks or going to hike a little bit, go on a treadmill for a little bit, do a rebounder for a little bit, but nothing excessive. Just moving the body and breathing and connecting. Being in nature, being around water as much as you can is very grounding and takes the negative energy and the stress away. Tapping, emotional freedom technique. So look up EFT, very, very helpful. Like I said, yoga, some good balancing yoga, yin yoga, some slower yoga, restorative yoga, sleep. Extremely important. You need more sleep. You do. That is one of the most important things that you need to do is more sleep. You can do things like Tai Chi, which is energy, balance the energy, supplements like I talked about, and you can do things like acupuncture, energy work, Reiki, anything like that. Watch meditations on YouTube, listen to meditations every single night before you go to bed. Yeah, I've covered all those things. That's what I wanted to talk about. For that, watch your thoughts. You need to always be focused and thinking and breathing and taking deep breaths and just relaxing into your body and not worrying and not stressing, because that only makes things worse. So very, very important. Now, are there any questions before I go into my story? By little exercise, 3 to 4 days. Oh, the amount you do, like 5 to 6, doesn't matter, Tammy. It's how intense it is. So it'd be low intensity exercise. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can go 7 days. It's good to move your body 7 days a week, basically. Let me just take a drink. And moving, I knew that would happen. Moving your body, things like stretching, right? Stretching, sitting on the floor, stretching, relaxing, breathing can be your 1 day of exercise, can be one of the things you do. Huge. Hugely important to stretch. Oh my God. Hugely important. Thanks. Yeah, I hope that helps. Low intensity. So I can go for a walk for an hour and a half. That doesn't matter, but I'm walking. I'm not running. It's just walking, it's breathing, maybe having a sit by the ocean, whatever, wherever you are, by some water, walking in the trees. It doesn't matter if you're gone for 2 hours, right? Whatever it takes, you're just relaxing and you're just breathing. So low intensity. Thank you for that. That's good to remind us about that. All right, now I'm just going to go into a bit of my story then, because I will cover things like this too that we talked about. So when I was, we're only half an hour in, good. So when I was about the age of 43, which is 10 years ago, you guys, oh my God, I was a personal trainer and a yoga instructor, and I was working at a one-on-one personal training studio. Before that, and during that time, I was doing a lot of adventure racing too. I was mountain biking, kayaking, and doing trail running. So I was plus I was working out, and I was at a one-on-one studio, so I was working out one-on-one with clients, and often I'd work out with them every single day. So that means that I was training for my races, I was working out with clients, and I was teaching yoga. I was probably the fittest I've ever been in my life in my 30s, and the first couple of years of I was in my 40s. And I was into weight training, like really muscular. So I was doing all that, and that was before perimenopause. So at about 43, I started noticing symptoms, and I started noticing my body kind of breaking down. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, this just seems weird. And I started to get really tired. I started to have foggy brain. I started to be like, I can't really remember things anymore. And I was feeling really flat and really, like someone had just hit me over the head, and I could barely function. And I was, like I said, I was training women. I was trying to help them lose weight and feel good and feel energetic. And I was like, oh my God, I feel horrible right now. Horrible. Very embarrassing. I didn't tell anybody. And I didn't know what was going on. So I went to see a naturopath, and that's when they found out I was in adrenal fatigue. She did that test. I was drinking about 3 or 4 huge things of coffee, Americanos a day, just to stay awake. But that wasn't helping anymore at all. It was actually not helping at all. I went into her office. I had a huge, large coffee to go to her office. And I sat down, and she told me the results of the test. And she said, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody as low as you. She goes, I don't know how you're functioning every day. And I said, well, I need the money, and this is my job. And she said, you got to stop. Something's got to change. She goes, you are in adrenal fatigue, and you're going to be one really, really sick person if you don't start taking care of yourself. She said, this is really serious. And so I was like, oh my God, what is that? I don't even know what adrenal fatigue is. I have no idea. All I knew was I felt the worst I'd ever felt in my life. Because I never really got sick, right? And so that began the journey. So I started to take supplements. I did, instead of working out and doing all my training, I had to stop because my body physically could not do it. I did my yoga. I did more yoga. So I focused just on yoga. I moved my body. I did walks instead of runs. I stopped all the things I loved, which I hated, but I physically couldn't do them anymore. And I had to get more rest. So my life pretty much changed. My social life was my running, my kayaking. It was fun. There was groups. I loved it. I was so passionate about it, but I had to quit it. So that brings you in this like state of, oh my God, life is so boring now. Which it seemed like that, but I rested. I really truly said I have to do this because to me, health is number one, right? Health is number one. And so then it took about 3 months. I took a lot of supplements. I did some acupuncture. I was already doing like some massage stuff because of how much I exercise. So I kept on that. But I just slowed down. I took walks. I did yoga. I didn't do my heavy exercises. And then I started feeling so much better, and I was feeling better. But then what happened was the other symptoms I was noticing started getting worse. So my foggy brain, my memory problems, my digestive problems started getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, oh my God, like I know I'm taking tons of supplements. I'm feeling really good. What's going on? Like what's happening? And I started gaining weight, which was not normal for me at all because of all the stuff I had done and exercise at that time. And I never really had to worry about my weight. So when I started putting on weight, even though I had gotten back to my exercise routine, not extreme, but just gotten back slowly into things, right? When I was feeling better. And so then I thought, oh my God, what's going on? I started researching and reading because I was about 44 probably at that time. And I'm like, something's wrong. I should not be putting on weight like this. I was eating clean. I'd already cleaned up my diet because I can't have preservatives. So I found that out. They give me headaches. So then I had no preservatives, no stuff like that. But I was addicted to carbs. Basically, I had a lot of brown rice. I had a lot of beans and lentils because I wasn't eating meat. So instead of eating meat, I went to high carb diet. I didn't know differently. I just went to like lots of starches. I love rice. I love starches. I love crackers. I love tortilla chips. And I just went to all of those things, not knowing that was a bad thing to do. So my digestive problems got bad. I got acid reflux really bad. Oh my God. I felt horrible again. I started gaining weight. And that's when I started reading that and found out I was actually in perimenopause. At a very young age, I went to my doctor. And I had a whole bunch of tests done because again, I was feeling terrible. So I wanted to see what was wrong. Thought I was dying of some disease, I think. He said, you're fine. You have IBS, right? I knew that, irritable bowel syndrome. And then I said, I think I'm going through like menopause. And he goes, no, you're not. You're far too young. You're not even close to 50. There's no way you're going through menopause. So I left. And then I read books and research and found out, yes, I am in perimenopause because of all the changes I was having, and my periods were starting to change to extreme. I would get really bad periods. I'd get such severe cramps. I went into the hospital 3 times thinking I had something rupturing. That can happen. It can be normal. Then the cramps just ended and I went home. There was nothing, they found nothing wrong with me. Everything was fine. It was just these severe cramps and terrible periods. Like I couldn't even barely stand up. The flow was so bad. That can be normal too. So once I started reading that those things are normal, that this is just a phase, then I began, okay, well, it's just going to end. Like I just know it's going to end and this is just a phase. And I read and researched everything I could find I became wickedly obsessive with learning what's going on, what can I do about it, how can I make myself feel better, and how can I help other women with this, because there is nothing out there. All I started reading was books on menopause and perimenopause. There was no YouTube at that time. There was no Facebook at that time. So I had nothing else to look at but read books. And I was on my own, all on my own to figure this out. So it took a lot of years. I needed to find recipes that were gluten-free, dairy-free, because I read that's probably something we should do and get rid of the heavy starches, I figured out. So I found raw food recipes. And that is what led me to become a raw food chef. I opened up a raw food restaurant. I was brought on with some people to open up a raw food restaurant with them. Me and another girl, we did all the recipes, all the menu plans. We got all the equipment, set up the whole restaurant. And I worked as a raw food chef for 2 years, and I was high raw. So when I found the raw food, it was so cool because it was highly creative recipes, totally different than anything I'd tried before. There was no heavy starches in it at all. So it made the transition easy. There was no gluten, there was no dairy. So I'm like, I have a ton of recipes, tons of recipes now I can eat. So I started using a lot of raw food recipes. I went about 95 to 98% raw for a year and a half. I began to lose weight fast. I was strict with it. Of course, I was teaching it, and I was a chef. So I had to be that persona of perfect. And so I lost weight really fast. And some people are like, what did you really do to lose the weight? And that's what I did. I went on a high raw diet. But I did not eat a ton of nuts and seeds because they're very fat. I didn't, because I ate a bit of them and the pâtés and stuff. And if you're in my programs, you get a lot of my raw food recipes that are fantastic. They are high nutrient dense. So that means you're getting a ton of good quality minerals, vitamins, essential fatty acids, omega-3s, and trace minerals. All of those ingredients, the exact things your body needs to function properly. You're right down to the cellular level. They help your immune system, help boost energy, helps your digestive system, helps your body to naturally detoxify, actually feed and fuel your hormones, right? That is what totally works. Not just raw food, but I mean eating the right foods. That is the vegetables and the greens and some fruits and some good nuts and seeds and certain grains. So getting those things that are high nutrient dense. So I began eating those. Now you get full fast because what means is they have the nutrients. So when your body gets all the nutrients you need, your body says, I'm good, I'm full. But if you don't feed your body the nutrients it requires, it does not say I'm full. It says, I'm still hungry. You haven't fed me yet. You haven't fed me yet. I need more food. But if we're not used to this, goes, I need more food. Oh my God, I want that bowl of rice. Or I need some potato chips. I'm hungry now. Oh my God, I need to eat. Not realizing filling your body up is not the same as feeding and fueling your body. So then your body still doesn't get what it needs. And it still signals it's hungry. So when you eat foods that are highly nutrient dense, your body gets what it needs. It shuts down the hunger, and you feel full. So when people go on my programs, they go, "Oh my God, I thought I'd be hungry, but I'm actually full. I'm not hungry," and that's why. That's exactly why. Emotional eating is a whole other story. That's not your body talking. That's your mind talking. Totally different. But when you eat properly, you help to lift the anxiety and depression too. So your emotions aren't as extreme. You help to balance your hormones by the foods you're eating. So then you don't have those sugar cravings. You don't have those salt cravings. You don't have those emotional up and downs as much either. So you see it all plays in, and your nutrition is extremely important for balancing your hormones, right? Because you're feeding your hormones so they can thrive, so they can actually do the problem. Your adrenal glands are by your kidneys, sorry, this is your thyroid. Your adrenal glands, if they are nurtured and respected, and you get rest and relaxation, they can do their job. They can produce hormones. Then your hormones will help to balance all the body, will help to balance everything out for you. So I was learning all this, and I applied what I was learning because to me, I just kept focusing on, I want to feel better and I want to help women because no one is here to help me. And this is nuts. I couldn't believe that. I could not believe even the naturopaths I was seeing at that time. Got to remember, this is 10 years ago. They were too young. They weren't going through what I was. And even though they were the same age. So they didn't quite understand it. And they're like, well, I don't know. Like, you know, that's around 50. We don't really know. I mean, we kind of know what goes on. Now they are far more versed on it because of the extreme hormonal changes at a younger age for kids because of our environment and all this crap. So they know more about it now than they did back then. All right. So that leads me to, I was doing the raw food recipes. I was a raw food chef. But then after eating high raw for about a year, I began to notice, I mean, I got down to 96 pounds. I'm 105, 106 right now. So I got down to 96 pounds. But when I was weight training, I was 116 at my heaviest. That was my healthy 116 pounds. So I got down to 96 pounds and I was really, really, really thin and I didn't look good. I began to not feel good at all. So the raw food diet helped me for quite a while, until everything regulated and everything started. I detoxed all the junk, all the bad stuff. My body began to say, you need more I need more. I was not eating enough to feed and fuel my body properly. So I brought in eggs again and I brought in fish because I live on the ocean here. It's lots of fresh fish. And my body started going, oh my God, thank you. And I brought in a little more rice and lentils and beans. And then my body started saying, oh my God, I feel so much better. So I listened to it. I learned through this whole process to listen to my body, to feel my body, to really sink in and know what it needs and know what it's like to feel real hunger, know what it's like to feel emotional eating. I went through a lot of emotional eating stuff, and one day I'll do some things that I've learned on that, about that and myself. So it was like a whole journey, and that's what... It's funny, we go through phases of life for a reason. Our experiences and things that we go through in life are here to teach us something. So if we just want to ignore them and cover them up with drugs or, sometimes prescription, right? And synthetic hormones so that we have a Band-Aid and start to feel better. But it doesn't change that the issues that are coming up for us to clear in our life, we're suppressing them. And what you suppress and what you repress comes up with a vengeance. And midlife, that's a huge part of what I believe it is. It's a change. It's another change for us. So as an adolescent, you're changing into a woman. You're not going to stay the immature way, that you did. You turn into a woman and you are able to handle more things and you change as a person inside. So we totally are aware of that phase and we honor it. Yet when women go through this phase, we expect them to do and be the same as they were before this perimenopause or menopause. That is not meant to be the way. We are moving and changing into another part of ourselves, our life. 100 years ago, women in their 50s did not have young children at home, did not work full-time jobs. They had their kids to take over their farms to help them. They were at a space now of relaxation and taking care of themselves. And maybe the grandkids every once in a while, because their kids did not work when they had kids, right? That was the reality. Now our lives have changed faster than our biological bodies have changed. We were never meant to handle all this, ever. And same with the environmental stress and toxins, which cause so many changes in our body, right? And the food we eat, which is pure crap most of the time. So what I really learned was, I did like acupuncture, I did energy treatments, I did bioidentical hormones. And bioidentical hormones are great, but again, you do them at the same time as you change everything else in your life. So they are not meant to be, I'll just take these hormones and then I'll feel good and I won't have to change my diet or I don't have to decrease my stress or anything because they'll just fix everything. That's not the way it works. For one, they do not have that big of an effect. Some people go on them and expect way too much and go, I felt nothing. Well, it's like taking Tylenol compared to taking a natural herb. It takes a long time and it's a lot milder, right? But if you were to choose bioidentical hormones, which are they're biologically identical to your natural hormones and they're from natural substances, then your body reacts and uses them, but you need to also pay attention to what you're eating. So you need to do everything I've mentioned at the same time. At the same time. Anybody have any questions? I know this is a lot of information. It's a lot. I've lost some people I see. I know it's a lot. But so my experience was basically I changed what I ate. I got rid of the starches. It's really important to have good, clean protein too, right? Like I'm not saying, it's really, really important to have good protein too because you need your amino acids. Can you recommend a naturopath in Victoria? No, I don't know any, Kathy. I haven't seen one for so long. Yeah. In Victoria, I don't. So the best thing to do would be to, if you know anybody, I'd put it on Facebook probably. If you know anybody who lives there or has a good naturopath, they can see in Victoria. Yeah. Really important too. Because especially if it's your adrenal glands and then get on some, they can direct you. So what you can also do, some of the things you can also do for supplements when you're going through perimenopause or menopause is you go to a health food store and they have formulations now. Like Lorna Van der Haag is a Canadian. She has formulations, but there are lots of brands that have formulations. So a menopause one, perimenopause one. And they will tell you on the label like what they're good for. Like if you're at this phase or if you're noticing these symptoms, this is the one to take. So basically they're like herbs because you can take like one herb or another herb, but it's a lot of separate herbs to buy and then take a formulation where they have it all kind of balanced together. And that'll help you manage your symptoms. You can just go and start that for sure, anytime. And then see a naturopath too, but start on a formulation if you are in perimenopause or if you're experiencing menopause symptoms like hot flashes. Hot flashes come later. They're not one of the first few symptoms you experience. They are later. You may get in perimenopause, you may get like night sweats where you're sweating at night. Whew, that's a perimenopause symptom. So getting some of these herbs and these formulations will help the symptoms because they help certain functions of your body too. Digestive enzymes, probiotics, absolutely, positively, you should be taking always probiotics and digestive enzymes. Take your vitamin D. We all need vitamin D. Magnesium is a great one. To get extra minerals and trace minerals, I do things like chlorella or spirulina, wheatgrass powder, which all have high chlorophyll, which all have vitamins, minerals, and trace minerals. So your LJs. Seaweed is good for iodine and minerals, really high in minerals. Seaweed's a whole other topic. I would YouTube and Google it before you find out what to buy and how to use it. But you can take kelp powders in little pills that you ingest, or you can buy seaweed flakes, but you have to have quite a lot of those to make any difference, seriously, actually. Yeah, you're not going to... you need to take quite a lot. That's what I use, this certain wakame, and I put it in my soups, and I put it in my salads, and then I use dulse, which you can add dulse to soups, salads, stir fries. Dulse you can buy at a health food store, right? So you're going to be looking into those things. I did a lot of those when I was higher raw, and I still use a lot of seaweeds. Good for thyroid function because they help your iodine. And I still every once in a while use formulations for the menopause and stuff. Energy work. Why energy work is so important too is because our emotions and stuff get blocked in our body, energy blockages. And then we need our energy to flow through us like this, in and out, flow through us. If it's not, it's getting stuck and it can cause actual physical problems within our body and a whole lot of other problems. So energy work like Reiki, I do. Look at any type of energy worker you want to work at. There's so many out there, I can't even. The best thing to do is talk to friends, talk to people who get these things done, who know practitioners. I went to so many, I can't even say. I spent money I didn't have. I went into debt. I did everything and anything I could to make and I'm not telling you to do this, but to make myself feel better, to investigate, to learn about it so that I could help women with it too. So in my programs, That's when we get a lot more specific on what will work for you according to your symptoms, according to what you're going through, according to how you're eating. We get the eating part really worked out. If anybody here still wants to do my 6-week program, you can today. I'll still give you the $100 off because you watched my video. So message me, Diana Marchand, on Facebook and let me know you want in on my program. At $100 off, it starts Monday, and you will be in and you will get all the information. This will get you feeling better and on the right track. Absolutely. You will learn all the recipes. You will get all the how-tos. You will get everything you need to go, oh, I get what I'm supposed to do now. We also work on the stress. We also give you techniques and things to start in your day calm and centered and to continue to do that, and the techniques to decrease the stress and what's going on in your body. And all over 6 weeks. So that makes a huge difference in your life, plus all the recipes. Anyways, message me if you're interested. And I am going to do a 7-day challenge, a free 7-day challenge. So I'm going to post in this Facebook group, for all those who are interested, a link where you can sign up. And when you sign up, it's going to be to my prepping and planning. So if you're part of my mailing group already, and you've signed up for how to prep and plan, that free gift thing I have on my website, I'm going to be sending out this free challenge to everybody who signed up for that. It's a free 7-day challenge, and it's going to give you recipes and things to do. So you can get started that way, okay? All right. All right. I see we've lost a few people, but that's okay. This is a long discussion. But I hope I helped to answer a lot of your questions, and please post any more in the comments below. I will answer them throughout the day and tonight and tomorrow. If you have any comments, if you have any suggestions on what you want more information on, if you have any things that you're struggling with, or if you want to know more about what I did about a specific thing, I'm just going to go to my thing. Then ask away. And I did change my life. I sold a lot of stuff. I got rid of a lot of stuff that I felt was weighing me down. I live very simply. I don't own a lot. I live with my boyfriend. It's all his stuff. Even if I wasn't with him, I'd be living I'd be living in a hot, warm climate. I'd be living very simply, because honoring myself, living in a way that brings me joy and loving what I do. I would never hold on to a job or career that I didn't love. I don't even care. I would just make it work in another way, because I truly, truly believe on that. Absolutely believe in that. So anyways, I hope I helped. I hope I gave you some information that's going to be helpful in the future, and giving you a little insight into the changes that are going on and some things that you can do. It does seem like a lot, but it's more, I was curious why you weren't fully raw. Oh, I was almost fully raw. You know what? When you called raw, that's 75% raw. You are called a raw foodie when you're 75% raw. Cindy, very few people are 100% raw. Very, 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 very few. Yeah, most are not. Most would be anywhere between 75% to 90% in the summer, probably. Summer, I was probably, why I say, because I had hot tea. I had hot tea. Yeah, I love hot tea. I will not go cold tea. Not doing it. And what else would I have hot? Hot lemon water. Like tea is not all, like some teas are not all raw if you put boiling water. Oh, all these stipulations, right? And there were periods where I would have a cooked food, like cooked vegetables. Yeah. And my body, like I said, needed more food. I could not possibly at some times eat as much raw food as I needed to, because raw food can get, you're just tired of it after a while, and you're just like, I'm tired of the chewing, I'm tired of that. So when you cook a ton of greens like kale or something, you can get a huge mass of it in a smaller package, so you can eat way more of it. And yeah, and then I started, I guess I would have certain, I'm trying to think what else. I didn't drink a lot of coffee, but I started bringing it back in. That's not raw. Yeah. I just started not worrying so much after a while, not being so perfect after a while, and just really choosing to enjoy certain things. And if I went to somebody's house, they'd usually have a salad for me, and they'd usually have cooked veggies, so I would usually always have the salad, because their salads didn't contain a lot of stuff, right? it was lettuce, maybe a cucumber, a tomato. I was like, that's not a lot of stuff for me. I need like a lot more stuff in my salads. So I would have some of the cooked stuff. Yeah. And then feel like, you know, I didn't want to just sit there, eat a carrot stick. I just didn't worry about it. Yeah. That's why I wasn't 100% raw. Very, very few people are. There are some, but yeah. You have to eat a lot. And you could eat a lot of bananas or a lot of fruit, which fruit doesn't agree with me. So I couldn't possibly eat enough of my calories. Myself, I didn't eat a lot of a lot of nuts and seeds, and I didn't eat a lot of fruit. I was eating a lot of vegetables and greens. Couldn't quite get enough calories that way. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for staying, you guys who stayed till the end. Awesome. Wonderful. All right. I am off to go for a walk. So have a fabulous day. If you are feeling you're adrenal fatigue or feeling exhausted, go get help for that. Go get tested. Like I said, my 6-week program is still here for you guys. Message me, send me an email, diana@dianamarchand.com. You're in, all right? And I will be doing putting the link for my prepping and planning. And if you sign up, you will get my 7-day free whole foods, kind of clean eating. All right, I'm off. Thank you. You are so welcome, you guys. Thanks for joining me. And remember to please post any questions or comments you have below the video, and I'll check them later. Bye-bye.